Hey everyone, Mark from Spotlight Branding here. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm really excited. I want to tell you guys about marketing funnels versus what I like to call a marketing loop or a content loop. So you've probably heard of marketing funnels, right? Now it doesn't matter what your level of knowledge is in a marketing funnel, but there is a fundamental issue with marketing funnels, and that's that they end. A marketing funnel ends. It starts here, and eventually, whether it's here, here, or here, it eventually ends, right? Not saying that marketing funnels don't have their place. We have certain aspects or certain parts of our own marketing that are funnels, but what you really need are loops, okay? Marketing loops, or again, I like to call it a content loop. So real quick, let's just draw this out, okay? Again, what's the problem with a typical marketing funnel? Okay, it usually looks something like this. Your typical funnel shape. Maybe this is Google AdWords. Okay, it could be a number of things. It could be a social media ad. It could be an advertisement on the radio. It could be a number of things. It could even be networking, right? You meet someone at a networking event and you get their business card and they enter the funnel. There's a lot of places they can enter the funnel. Again, this one might be networking. This one might be the AdWords, whatever it is, okay? They come in and, you know, at the end of the day, you have a goal down here, right? The goal might be a contact form, okay? The goal might be a consultation, okay? Whatever is at the end of your funnel, and usually in a funnel, you've got different touch points along the way, okay? Maybe here they get an email, or maybe it's an email drip campaign where they're getting multiple emails. Maybe here they even get a call from your office. Maybe they start to get a newsletter. Maybe they get a video. A lot of things you can do to move people down the funnel, ultimately trying to get them to make the decision you want them to make. But what happens if they don't make that decision? Okay, funnels inherently end. Is that it? Is that the end of the road? Okay, you probably spent money or time. One of the two. You're going to always spend money or you're going to spend time in order to grow your business. Okay? You're going to spend money on things like AdWords to get people into your world, into your funnel, into your network, into your audience. Or you're going to spend your time. Okay? You're going to go out and network and meet people. That's a form of marketing. Okay? Networking, putting on your own events, speaking, all of that is also a form of marketing. You're always going to exchange your time or your money to get more clients or to grow your firm. Okay, so that's the problem with funnels. They have their place. I'm not saying this is a bad thing and your business can't have this, okay? But the problem with them as the go-to marketing tool is that funnels end. Okay, so what are we gonna do differently? My eraser's over here. All right, got my eraser. So what are we gonna do differently? We're going to talk about creating a content loop, okay, instead of a marketing funnel. Loops instead of funnels, okay? So, a marketing loop is exactly what it sounds like. It doesn't end. That's the whole point. A marketing funnel ends, a marketing loop or a content loop doesn't end. So let's kind of think about the journey here, right? I drew the funnel a minute ago. People come into the funnel. Okay, so let's think about that same thing. People come into the funnel. They come into your network. We could call it your list, your audience, your network, whatever you want to call it. Again, doesn't matter where they came from. It could have been networking, could have been some form of advertising. Okay, but once you've captured their information or once they've engaged your content, your website, something, they're kind of in your universe, right? So what we want to do is we want to create something that stays in touch with them. So maybe the first thing that happens is somebody interacts with your website. Any portion of your website, but they interact with your website. Okay, we're going to hope that maybe they sign up for a newsletter, maybe they download some sort of free report, maybe they're even already on your email list. Okay, but because then what's going to happen is, let's say maybe a week later, they get an email newsletter from you. And then let's maybe say a couple days later, they're on social media and they see a post from your law firm on social media. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about, well, what is the content here? What's in the newsletter? What's in the social media? We'll come back to that. But for the sake of just kind of keeping going, the point is, okay, they came from here, a week later they get your newsletter, a couple days later they see something on social media, then maybe you put out a new blog, okay? And that blog's on your website and kind of sends them back to your website. Okay, and you could put more things in here. You could put a podcast episode. You could put other things in here. But the point is that it's a loop because this recurs. So let's almost pretend like this is happening monthly. So every month you send out a newsletter. That's a touch point. Okay, these are all touch points. Every month you send out a newsletter. Then a couple days later they see a social media post. Then a week or two later a new blog comes out. Then maybe a few days later they happen to see another social media post. They might not be going to look for it, but if you do your social media properly, people in your network should see the content at least occasionally that your firm is posting. Okay? And sometimes things like your social media might, send somebody back to your website, or the newsletter maybe has some content in it or some links sending people back to your website. Okay, that's not the most important aspect of a content funnel, or a content loop, or a marketing loop, but it's just kind of good to point out. But that's definitely not the main point here. The point is that this never ends. Okay, this never ends. So no matter where somebody comes from, no matter what point they come in, they might come in from your website, they might even find you on social media, they might have done a Google search and found you through your blog. The point is that we want to get them into this ecosystem where you're staying in touch with them forever, okay? Especially if you get their information in some way, shape, or form, they're on an email list, you can email them anytime a new blog comes out, okay? You can email them and invite them to like and follow your social media pages, okay? You can obviously send them your email newsletter. And by the way, just as a quick side note, this doesn't always have to be digital. Spotlight Branding, we're a digital content agency, so we're gonna do all of these things. But even doing something like a print newsletter, which is gonna come out monthly or quarterly or whatever. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. The bottom line is, and I can't say this enough, marketing funnels end, marketing loops don't. Okay, so whatever point somebody is in the process of making a decision, whether that decision is to hire a lawyer, that decision also might be to refer someone they know, wherever they are in that point. If they don't come to that decision when they're in a funnel, if they don't make the decision to reach out to you or to hire you, or it's someone that you know, a colleague, a neighbor, someone who could send you a referral, but they don't have a referral for you right now, okay? And then your funnel ends. You're not going to get that referral, you're not going to get that consult, or you're not going to get that person's decision to hire a lawyer if they're just not making it yet. But when they're in a loop, and every month they're going to see a social media post or two, see a blog from you, get a newsletter, then whenever they're ready to make a decision, you can guarantee they're not going to forget about you. Whenever they have a friend, a colleague, whomever, family member that needs to be referred to a lawyer, they're not going to forget you. They're going to think to make that referral. They're going to think to pick up the phone and call you or to fill out your contact form because you've stayed in touch. This isn't honestly all that unique. This is top of mind awareness. This is staying in touch. This is something that we've been taught forever in business, the importance of staying in touch. Heck, we know in our personal lives that if we don't stay in touch with people, right, the relationship starts to suffer from that. It's no different in the business world. If you don't stay in touch with your past clients, if you don't stay in touch with your network, if you don't stay in touch with everybody you met at that networking event, don't be surprised that you're not getting referrals from it. If you don't stay in touch with every person you've come across with, don't be surprised that they don't think of you the next time they need a lawyer. If you don't stay in touch with the people who reached out to you but didn't become a client, don't be surprised that you never hear from them again. Maybe they did hire somebody else, but maybe it's not working out. Maybe they never made a decision. Maybe the fact that they never made a decision, you never heard from them, just means they got busy. I know that you guys do that to us all the time. You guys get busy, and you don't always give a response. but your firm and your marketing can stay in touch for you when you create a content loop. And by the way, just in case you're thinking this, don't be worried that this is too much content. Okay, first of all, not everybody engages all of these things. Not everyone's gonna read a blog. Not everyone's gonna go on social media. And I totally left out an important one, which is funny because this is what we're doing right now, is making video, right? Okay? So at some point, you put out video consistently like we're doing right now, and maybe they see a video. Okay, some people are gonna prefer to watch a video. Some people are gonna prefer to go into their email and look at a newsletter. Some people are gonna be on social media. Some people are gonna prefer to read a blog. So the nice thing about this is that some people, you might connect with them, have that touch point in multiple areas. Others, maybe only one or two, but you do those things every month, right? They recur. Okay, so that's the point of a content loop. Couple things to make this crush it for you, okay, as we wrap up this video. Okay, two things that are gonna kind of enhance the effectiveness of your content loop. The first one is the strategy of the content. Okay, and the second one is what I call content multiplication. Let me come back over here. I'm right-handed. Okay, so first of all, the content of this content, if you will, you obviously want to get it right. So when you're creating content, when you're creating blogs, when you're creating videos, when you're creating social media posts, creating your newsletter, okay, the strategy needs to lead into here by creating topics that are actually going to be interesting or helpful to your audience. So if you're a family law attorney, create content that is advice on how to keep the divorce process smooth for the children. Okay, it all depends on what your brand is, right? Your brand as a family law attorney might be that you're a bulldog in the courtroom and you're gonna fight until they get everything they want. Fine, make your videos and your blogs about that, about why it's important to be bullish, or whatever your brand is, whatever your message is, right? But create content that addresses the questions that your potential clients have. That addresses their fears, their concerns. Hey, what do I do when I get a letter from the IRS? What do I do if I get pulled over by the police? What do I do in this situation? What happens if my parents pass away and they didn't leave a will? These are the questions you get every day, right? So you're gonna wanna make sure that this content talks about those kinds of things, okay? That way, people actually want to engage your loop. The second thing is multiplication, okay? And how does multiplication lead into here? This is one of the most important parts because this is what makes this feel less overwhelming. Multiplication is simply taking a piece of content and finding multiple ways to use it. Let's go back to that example of divorce, how to make divorce smooth on the children. Okay, shoot a video where you answer that question, 60, 90 seconds. Then write a blog about the same thing. Heck, you might even be able to get that video transcribed into written content and then maybe just edit it a little bit, and now you've got a blog. That's multiplication of content. Whether you do that or you just write a blog from scratch, take the blog, publish it on your website, obviously, okay? But then also share that blog on social media. That's now social media content. Matter of fact, you could probably share that blog multiple times on social media. Feature that blog as the central piece of your email newsletter. So when your email newsletter goes out, you don't have to create additional content for it. You can use content you already have, okay? So have a newsletter sign up on your website. Every time you put out a new newsletter, share that newsletter on social media. Every video that you create should get published on your website, should get shared multiple times on social media, and also should be featured in your email newsletter. Okay, so the really great thing about content multiplication is you can figure out ways to get more mileage out of the content you create. Find more ways to use content you already have instead of having to constantly create new, unique content. That's what content multiplication is all about. So that's this side. Let's talk about one last thing, which is your side, okay? We talk to our clients a lot about this. What you do can make or break this. What you do. What do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about spotlight branding for a second. We do this for our clients. Okay, we actually create this content. We use the strategy and the multiplication I talked about out here. You don't have to hire us to do that. Okay, you can do it yourself. Other firms can do it for you. I don't know if they understand it this way, that this is what they're doing, okay? That they're creating this loop and they're creating it with this strategy. But this is ultimately the strategy that you want to adopt. But here's the thing. We can send out a newsletter for you, and that same newsletter can go to 100 people, but it could also go to 10,000 people. It's obviously going to be more effective if it goes to 10,000 people. Okay? So one of the most important things you can do is grow your network. Do things that increase the amount of people that are in here. Okay? This is your network. Okay? And the content loop is basically building a fence so that no one can escape. Okay? They can obviously hit an unsubscribe button, but the whole point is to build this loop around. At Spotlight Branding, we kind of joke that you're literally and metaphorically keeping people in the loop, right? You're sending out content to keep them in the loop, to stay up to date with them, but you're also kind of, actually keeping them in this loop that you created, okay? So that no referral is ever missed, no potential new client is ever missed, no repeat client is ever missed, no opportunity is ever missed. We have clients all the time who get invitations to be on TV or be part of a speaking panel or get introduced to a strategic relationship because they're putting out content to their network, staying in touch, and then opportunity presents itself. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're growing this as much as possible. Because when you're growing your network, your content loop is doing more for you without you actually having to do more of these things, right? Your blog can reach 100 people or it can reach 1,000 people, but it's the same blog. It's the same one piece of content. Same thing with videos, same thing with social media, etc. So it's so important that you grow your network or that you advertise. These things might trickle in some business for you from the outside, but a content loop, just like a funnel, is really more about what it does once someone's in it, okay? And the good news is that you already have an existing network, whether you know it or not. You have an email list, whether you know it or not. Okay, everyone that's in your email inbox right now is part of your email list. You just might not know how to pull it out and extract it. Okay, we can even help you do that. Okay, so you have a network, you have an audience, you have an email list. If you have any sort of software like a CRM or something like that, typically you can export all those people as well. So you probably are already in a better position than you think. But once you get a content loop going, the more you grow your audience, whether it's advertising, networking, remember the whole exchanging time or money, the more of that you do, the more effective this is going to be for you. Okay? You also can get more clear on what your messaging is, who you're targeting. If you have 7 different practice areas, then the content loop gets diluted because all these touch points are talking about so many different things, right? The strategy is starting to get a little diluted. But when you focus on a certain practice area or you focus on a certain type of clientele, then that becomes the makeup of the content. And all these people that are being kept in the loop know what you're all about, know why they should hire you, know why they should refer to you. And oh, by the way, one of the best things this also helps you do is increase your prices because you become the expert in your field. Okay, and that helps you charge what you and your firm are actually worth. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Remember, it's all about creating loops, not necessarily funnels. Create something that's evergreen, create something that doesn't end, and keep people in the loop, both literally and metaphorically. If we can help you with this, go ahead and contact us at spotlightbranding.com. Hope this was helpful.